They say a man arrives when the world applauds him, but sometimes arrival feels more like a prison than a prize. Welcome to the Alfonso Archives. It was a rare thing, a morning without blood, without orders.
Boss, I want to marry Maria.
Just two men and the silence between power.
You've taken many things without asking, but this time, you ask. You have my blessing.
He entered this house as a ghost. Now, he would marry the crown. The house of Iannucci was known for silence. Deals whispered, orders sealed, guns fired from shadows. But today the silence was replaced by music. For once, the empire dressed itself in light.
You spill that. You're swimming in the fountain with the koi. Got it? Guests arrive in 3 hours. Move faster. Get a fucking move on. You're there to set it, not eat it.
It didn't matter how grand the day was. The weight of the house was always present. Even when covered in rose petals, no detail was overlooked, not because they feared punishment, but because they knew the eyes watching were older than legacy. Power sees power, and like wolves in the snow, they recognize each other by the weight of their silence.
You're the prince now. Try not to look like you're burying someone.
Maybe I am.
He had smiled when he earned his name. He had laughed with Poppy. He had bled for the house. But love? Love was too sharp to touch. It wasn't just a wedding. It was the proof that the Iannucci name had survived the storms. And today, the crown was handed, not by birth, but by fire. Power doesn't shift with ceremony. It happens in silence. With one jet, one nod, one ghost leaving the frame. For once, the house was not feared. It was celebrated. But not all crowns are meant to be worn forever. On paper, the day belonged to love. But power has no calendar, no respect for vows, no patience for champagne. A shipment had gone missing in the East Docks. A warehouse was lit up the night before. No suspects. 2 associates went silent in Naples. The cartel wanted answers.
Need your signature. Van's off schedule. 3rd delay this week.
He'd only just married into the house and was already holding bricks to keep it standing. They spoke of rumors, old enemies stirring, the smell of old blood in new streets. The wine flowed. The band played. But the house knew better. Weddings didn't stop the business. They only paused the blood. The music had faded. The wine had run dry. And still, he stood like he hadn't tasted any of it. She rested her head on his shoulder, but he felt the weight like armor being placed back on.
Did you ever picture this?
Every day.
It was a lie told gently. The kind lovers tell when they don't want to say they're somewhere else. He had the suit, the name, the wife, the crown, everything a soldier could want, and none of what a man needed. When a man like Alfonso decides to leave, he doesn't run. He calculates, not because he fears being caught, but because he knows the house too well to walk out blind.
You know, there's places off the grid. Supply lanes in the city the capos forgot about.
I don't need the route, just the name of the man who runs it.
So, you ready to memorize 100 new names you'll never use? Guys already practicing the husband silence? Holy fuck!
He wasn't buying freedom. He was drawing the map.
You ever hear about the old fire exits on the West Wing?
Never used. Only the original build crew knows. Why?
Just wondering how fast I could leave, if something ever went bad.
Piece by piece, he tested the seams of the world he'd helped build. The loyal, the selfish, the quiet, the ones who talked too much. He measured every hallway, counted every locked door, clocked every camera's sweep. You don't leave the Iannucci estate with a suitcase. You leave by knowing who looks away when you do. He wasn't looking to destroy the family. He just needed the kind of damage that opened a door. Enough to satisfy the ghost who sent him here. Not enough to make the roof collapse.
That redevelopment deal on the East Pier. Family got involved with that city council vote, no?
You're asking if my name's on it, or if it should be.
Just asking if it's something worth protecting.
Everything we build is worth protecting. The real trick is knowing which parts of the house you're willing to set on fire, so the rest stays warm.
That was all Alfonso needed. A file name, a connection. On paper, it was one laundering route, but that one thread unraveled 5 shell networks, and with them, decades of political cover. He left no name, no signal, just a cut, precise enough to hurt. He gave both families a cut, so he could cut free. He had waited long enough, waited for the crown, for the ceremony, for the approval of men he once dreamed of killing. But he hadn't asked her, not really, not until now.
If I stay, I rot. If I go, I run. But if you come with me, I breathe.
You're asking me to leave my name.
I'm not asking. I'm offering.
They didn't cry. They didn't whisper promises. This wasn't a love story. It was a decision made by 2 people who had seen too much.
You're the only thing that feels real.
It wasn't permission. It was alignment. And when 2 ghosts agree to vanish, the world never sees them leave. Some men say goodbye with words. Others use fists. They weren't brothers by blood, but every scar, every bruise, every sprint in silence made them family. For years, they trained like soldiers, fought like dogs, laughed like idiots. But tonight, they fought like men who knew it might be the last time.
Don't get caught.
Don't go soft.
No handshake, no farewell, only understanding. And somewhere, deep down, Tommaso knew. Ghosts don't say goodbye. They just disappear. There was no music, no alarms, no clock ticking down. Only motion, planned, rehearsed, necessary. He trusted Paolo with the switch, not because he believed in his loyalty, but because Paolo had been forgotten by the family too many times to say no. She could have taken gold, diamonds, heirlooms. Instead, she took freedom. The Iannuccis taught them how to move unseen. They just never expected they'd use it to vanish. He had seen empires rise and fall, built from blood, held by silence. And in all his years, the sharpest betrayal was never anger. It was understanding. He didn't flinch, didn't reach for a phone, didn't summon anyone. He just watched. Like a man seeing the final move on a chessboard he solved 10 years ago. Some sons are born into the house. Others break through the walls. To this day, no one knows why the Dawn let him go. Maybe it was mercy. Maybe it was strategy. Or maybe he just knew. Some men were never meant to stay caged.